He was like pointing out all of the defects and like making fun of them the entire time. So
The other really funny one is he plays chess against Hammond, and they drink.
while they're drinking,
Yeah, the pieces are made out of cheese, so when you take one, you have to eat it, and then the other one drinks the other person's gin. They get hammered. Like, by the end, Hammond has like Cheetos coming out of his mouth, and he's dancing around like it.
I feel like Hammond out of all of them was always the one that was constantly drunk.
Well, do you know what's really funny? James and Hammond are like friends in real
they're
life.
really close.
They're friends with Jeremy, sort of, but they do a lot of stuff.
Jeremy kind of went on and did a lot with his farm and everything.
Yeah.
So
Just gotta do it.
But like James sends his cars to get fixed up by Hammond
Yeah.
in his workshop.
That just makes me. I need to do some marathons where I watch the Top Gear and Grand Tour specials, especially because I love the specials.
I love Top Gear. Top Gear was one
To be
of my
honest,
favorites.
I like Jeremy's farm, even though it swears really, really bad. It's funny because it makes my heart feel good.
That he swears really, really bad.
Oh no! That he's trying to. It's more like a, hey, we need to take care of our farmers because this is.
Yeah.
But then it's Jeremy, and then
There is a lot of cussing. So watch it on Angel did. What is that called?
VidAngel.
VidAngel. There you go.
all you'd get was.
Hey, all I can say is that I have VidAngel, and I was trying to watch a show, and it made me laugh how much I missed or how much was cut out. Because literally their mouth would open and start moving, and there would be nothing for like a straight minute and a half, and I'm like, what is going on?
You should, when you have time, go on YouTube and look up the Mad TV skit of Sopranos edited for normal television, and it is nothing but that. It's just like cut.
Oh, it's the
Will
best.
Sasso, who is one of my favorite people ever. He's so funny, but you'll have to do it. It's really funny.
I'll have to look at it because that really is that just made me laugh. I tried watching the new Fallout with that on. And it was okay, but there was parts where like you're like sitting there and all of a sudden like it cuts to a scene and you're like,
I missed something.
I think someone's dead.
I missed something somewhere.
So
Well, should we get going?
sure.
Okay. Welcome. Wait, I'm going to be more creepy. Welcome to the Twaddling Along podcast.
Danny sounds like he's starting the jazz hour on the radio.
This hour, we have ourselves some Robbie Coltrane. Wait, Robbie Coltrane?
Robbie Coltrane.
That's not correct.
That's freaking Hagrid.
That's Hagrid. John Coltrane is what I meant.
There you go.
No, we are back.
We're here.
Yeah, I am here with my brothers and co-hosts, Josh
Hey
and
there.
Jake.
I'm here too.
Sometimes I forget to do the introductions. I'm sorry.
You do?
I do.
I don't think you've ever missed one.
Oh, no, I have. I've missed a couple of them. In going back and actually listening to all of our episodes, I've missed a few.
Do you know what we should? We should pull a prank on our viewers and just use the same introduction for all of them. Just cut from our very first King Tut video.
Just going over and over.
Have you ever gone back and listened to our first King Tut? It is not good.
I have neglected to ever listen to any of them.
Sounded like I was super far away.
Yeah, the audio was terrible. It was so overproduced. Oh, I think we've gotten a lot better.
I sure hope so.
We're upwards in the. I think this could be our 60th plus episode. I'll have to go back and actually count them. But
So
we've
for
got
all
a
those
lot.
seniors who are listening, this is our 60
sorry,
plus
guys.
episode. So please listen.
Don't forget your social security. No, this is a paranormal episode.
So this is for our 60 minus.
And not only
Because
is this
we
a
don't want you to have a heart
paranormal,
attack.
60 feet under.
it is my paranormal episode.
Possessive.
And I like the paranormal.
Danny does like the paranormal.
That's the
do.
whole reason we have it.
I have this thing with the paranormal. I consider myself an amateur folklorist. And that I really love like some of the stories.
Sorry.
Thank you for that, Josh. You just yawned literally on.
I yawned amateur.
just an amateur. He's just an amateur.
Oh.
So the
Anyways,
fact
I
that
really like the stories, but this week's it got a little freaky.
I stopped.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I had when I originally had put this out to the world, Josh, you stop all the time. And when I originally put this out into the world, and when I told you guys that this was going to be the topic, I didn't realize, like, in going through it, how kind of it's a little freaky. So I'm putting a warning. We're actually going to put a warning on this.
Ooh,
this is going to be some of these things can get a little deep, a little spooky, a little scary. And I even have some stories that kind of freaked me out that I've included in this. Today's topic is the shadow entities or shadow people.
The shadow realm.
Now,
crap, I spelled people wrong.
I am going
I
to
just did it again.
purple.
P.O.P.
The shadow purple.
The shadow P.O.P.
I'm going to start with just a really quick thing because right off the bat, whenever I think about shadow people, I think about ghosts. There is actually a pretty significant distinction between shadow people and ghosts. The big thing is when it comes to ghosts are always kind of in conjunction with something that's living that is now dead, right?
Gotcha.
So we're Marley from the Christmas Carol, ghost, right?
Oh,
We're Marley and Marley.
gotcha. I thought you were talking about the dog show, Marley and Me.
Oh, well, unfortunately, he's probably a ghost too.
He's a shadow of his former
Marley
self.
and Marley.
Where shadow people, they are considered ambiguous. They're non-corporeal. They're fleeting, and they're associated with fear and with other senses. They're also associated with liminal spaces, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Liminal spaces.
Yes, liminal spaces are actually it's a pretty significant connection with this, and kind of goes into more of the psychology of what the shadow people are. I've actually made an outline because I went a little too deep in this, and I thought maybe I need to actually kind of like split this up holy
So
Josh, pull out your holy water.
That's who that Catholic exorcist I saw over at your house the other day comes over. It's not the candy van, but it has a cross on the back.
They have to have the exorcist music come
Yeah,
on
it's
as they hop out.
It's an ice cream truck, but
Yeah.
with it.
Sorry, the master of disguise when the grandpa shows up with that music in the
Yes.
background. One of my favorites.
That is such a terrible movie.
It's a horrible
It is
movie.
a horrible
But
movie,
it's a
but it is
guilty
it is-
pleasure.
It's one
how
of those
bad it
cult
is.
classics that you watch and you're like, I don't know why anyone loves this, but then you watch the end and you're like, I love this movie.
We
It is-
rented it too much from Blockbuster.
We
when
got
were
to
little.
a point it was almost ridiculous that we were quoting it around the house.
We watched all the deleted scenes.
And have you ever looked up like the Rotten Tomatoes for it? It is poor.
I don't think I've ever seen him actually be in a movie other than that one and the one that he's actually famous for.
I don't have my phone.
The one with Bill Murray, or not Bill Murray?
No,
with
Shrek.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, it's right behind your paper.
Thank you.
Me too. Shadow.
By the way, that is the Wayne's World that we are talking
Yes,
about.
that one.
Wayne's World.
The what? Whoa.
Wayne's World. Thank you very
Wayne's
much.
World.
Wayne's
He's just
World.
practicing his yodeling.
Hey, as for the outline.
Shadows.
We're going to go into the cultural significance and the history of the shadow people, and we're going to get a little esoteric when it comes to this.
Danny keeps using big words.
I know you said I've almost asked you to define that. As
I'm
someone
sorry.
who sucks at English,
Esoteric.
esoteric just meaning like a very it's a knowledge that not a lot of people know about. Okay.
yeah.
So everyone listening to this, you're esoteric.
Yes, we are esoteric.
We're esoteric.
We are esoteric. Some of our topics would be considered esoteric.
We're not.
Then we're going to talk about modern day encounters and sightings.
Ooh.
Nice.
Specifically, we're going to be talking about one big one that you guys probably came across when we were looking at the shadow people. We'll get to that. We're going to talk about the psychology and the physiology of what this could be.
As you see here, this is his chest.
I'm talking about the physiology that could be causing it in the human brain.
Oh, sorry.
And then we'll get to the stories.
Ooh. Okay.
So look, I actually made an outline.
okay.
Okay.
and I'm proud of
I
myself.
think this is the third time you've said that.
I know.
He's so proud.
I know he's proud.
We're
of that
gonna go.
outline.
We're gonna go all the way back into some Mesopotamian and early Judaic lore.
Now, before you do that,
Please.
I think we should, at the time that you actually fill this journal, because I need to. Danny has this leather journal that he writes all of his notes in. We should like sell it and make money at the end.
Well,
of
the problem is I also use this as my real journal, so
Dear diary.
so I can't.
Okay, maybe
really,
not.
I can't really do that. 'Cause,
Okay.
like it goes into, let's see,
I said a
my
bad word
kidney
today.
stones, and it goes
I
into
like using big words.
March was terrible. I do like using big words. I
March
apologize, everybody.
sucked. Okay.
March-
Never mind. We won't sell his diary.
I could
yet.
probably link all the pictures and stuff that I put
No,
in
no,
here.
no, no. We need to get money off of this somehow.
I see.
Let's create a blog.
So this is actually like you're going to try to get money off of me because I'm going to be like, no, please don't. And you're like, no,
This
pay us.
Yeah, pay us $100 for one of Danny's secrets.
We're going to talk about Lilith. Now there's this is one of those topics that is a weird one. And people have probably not heard about Lilith, so I'm just going to go into a little bit of the Lilith mythology.
Lilith.
And the Lilith mythology is a attempt by some early rabbinical writers to what's a good way of putting it? To make the first two chapters of Genesis work. And what I mean by that is that in the first chapter of Genesis, it talks about man and woman being created at the same time. But then in the second chapter of Genesis, it talks about Adam coming first and then Eve coming later. And so the early rabbis at the time were trying to figure something out. And they came up with this idea of Lilith. Lilith being the first wife of Adam who rebels against Adam and is cast away. Now, the reason why this is connected with shadow people is actually because there is a lot of connection between the idea of Lilith and these shadow entities. As a matter of fact, Lilith's earliest roots lie in ancient Mesopotamia. She is connected to a class of night spirits called the Lilu. They were found in Samaria, in Akkadian and Babylonian texts. They are really, really old. These beings were associated with winds, storms, diseases, dangers during sleep, and were believed to roam at night, invade homes, threaten pregnant women and infants. And then it's believed that these early rabbis, in trying to kind of figure out what the Bible was saying, they just took kind of ideas from around themselves and kind of pushed it into this idea of Lilith. And therefore Lilith became this kind of shadow boogeyman. Where literally they talk about like Lilith was the first female demon who was responsible for death, and that you would see her at night, but she would never make a pure appearance. Like it was more of like a shadow appearance or something like that. So
That's crazy.
in surviving Akkadian and Sumerian texts, the Lilu are described as invisible or barely perceptible. They're night wind spirits, and the places them conceptually adjacent to the darkness rather than visually embodying shadow figures. And so they're not quite the same. However, a lot of scholars believe that even the idea of Lilith and the Lilu is probably associated with a little bit of like the sleep paralysis, which we're going to talk about later. A lot of people that experience sleep paralysis see kind of these shadow creatures, and it was kind of a way to try to explain it away. Was she actually a shadow person? Probably not. Is she even associated with like Judeo-Christian Islamic teachings? Not really. There's some, once again, I'm going to use the term esoteric.
Esoteric.
There's some esoteric kind of sects, sects out there that believe in it, but it's not really a widespread thing. It's more now turned into a kind of one part boogeyman, one part female empowerment. A lot of people take Lilith as, she overcame the man. So that's kind of how she
Seems
seems.
to be popular amongst the Wiccans.
Very,
Yeah,
very
I was going to say
popular.
pagan, Wiccan.
Yep. Pagans are, they get into it. In ancient Egyptian, they believed in what was called the Sheut. It was not really a mysterious, spooky thing, but actually a fundamental part of an individual soul. It was a person's shadow. They literally believed, and I actually went back and I have a couple books on Egypt and Egypt mythology and stuff, and I actually went back just to verify this, but they actually believed that their shadow was a part of themselves. And it wasn't just, we're not talking about like a adjacent, belief. It was a strong belief. Like,
Gotcha.
As a matter of fact, like their boogeymen in kind of the culture of Egypt were people without shadows, because they believed it was people who lost their souls. They believed that after death, it could be observed. So your shadow could free roam and it could appear to your loved ones. And it
Peter
was
Pan.
kind of, yeah, actually. And it could be observed or represented without the physical body present. It was very, very common in funerary rites to actually draw out like the form and the shadow of the person as a representation of this shoot, and they could actually act independently. So you could, in like the Egyptian religion, you could send your shout out to do things for you, and it would come back to you.
Astral projection.
Yeah,
but
kind of
shadow.
Yeah. I will tell you that there's a lot of like mummies curses, and when we get into mummies, this will come into play a lot of the shayot being removed, and that's why mummies are undead, or like a mummy's curse.
Oh.
So it is actually kind of a really interesting thing. It's not quite associated with the shadow people as we kind of think about it now, but it's just kind of going to show that in cultures all around the world, there's always been kind of this distrust of shadows sometimes, or this is the spooky nature of what a shadow really is. Okay.
Interesting.
Now this one is crazy and deserves its own podcast, and I'm just going to bring it up here because it's really interesting, and that is the Jinn.
Jinn are freaky.
The Jinn, or the Genie as we know it, and we're not talking about Mr. Robin Williams, we're talking about the Islamic belief of the Genie, or the Jinn. The Jinn are considered supernatural beings from Islam and pre-Islamic Arabian traditions. They are believed to be created from smokeless fire, and the way that I understand it, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, is that in the Islamic tradition there are three creations of God. There are the angels, that are created from the, let's see, what is it? The water, I think. Someone check me on that. And there are the men who are created from the earth, and then there are the Jinn who are created from the fire.
Let's see.
Someone want to check that for me while I do it? I don't want to.
Josh is doing good right now. We'll have him do it.
Come on, Josh.
I'm trying. The first thing that popped up, I said creations of Islam. And I said, is it haram to say OMG?
It might be, actually.
Wow.
So, just going back into the Jinn until Josh kind of figures this out. They possess free will. They're allowed to actually be benevolent, malicious, neutral. They kind of are often associated with these liminal spaces such as deserts, ruins, nighttime boundaries. They're naturally invisible, but when they do appear to humans, they are represented as dark figures, like shadow figures. As a matter of fact, I've got a picture that I was able to find from what's called the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, Turkey, that purports to actually show the Jinn. And when you look at this picture, you're like, oh, okay, that is like a shadow person. Here, you guys can see. There's my picture.
Yeah.
There's my picture.
Ooh, is that the one on the left?
The one on on your left.
Okay.
Yep. It is. It was a really powerful belief, and as a matter of fact, it's still a very powerful belief that the Jinn kind of have an influence on humanity. They can be interpreted as similar to modern shadow people, probably closer than most of the other folklores that are out there. Because they, once again, that liminal states thing, the spaces, they are embodied figures. They are not human. They normally are invisible. They can manifest partially or indistinctly. They kind of hang out in abandoned places or thresholds. Many Jinn encounters emphasize presence over form, a sensed watcher, a fleeting movement, or a dark shape perceived on the edge of vision, which is really similar to how people see like the shadow persons nowadays. The key parallel is experiential rather than theological. So Jinn represent an older cultural framework framework for interpreting encounters with the unseen, while shadow people is more of like a modern day thing. So what they considered the jinn back in pre-Islamic, we probably could say that it's the exact same kind of entity. Now, once again, I don't want people to think that I believe in this. I know that sounds funny, but I want to more just kind of put a framework as this thing out there is something that is a strong belief with a lot of different people. Shadow people can be understood as a contemporary renaming of experiences that Islamic tradition classified as jinn, shaped by changes in belief rather than changes in perception itself. So it's spooky. Jinn, we got to do something on Genies because some of the stories on Genies are really cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got 1001 Arabic Nights. Yeah, Arabic Nights?
Arabian, thank you. Good heavens, I don't know.
Arabian?
I had a hard time with that.
I have a rabies.
You have the rabies?
I have the rabies.
All right. Have you guys ever heard of the old hag?
Yes.
I feel like I read a book about that at Grandma's house.
There is. Grandma actually used to have the painting in her painting book in her back, where they had all the paintings. There's a painting by artist by the name of Henry Fuseli that's called Nightmare that shows the old hag sitting on top of a beautiful woman who's asleep. The old hag is a figure from European folklore used to explain terrifying nighttime experiences in which a person awakens unable to move and senses a hostile presence. She's believed to be a witch or a night spirit that sat on the sleeper's chest, causing paralysis, pressure, and intense fear. A belief so enduring, it gave rise to the word nightmare. That is actually where we get the word nightmare. Is from the old hag. It's literally from what we would consider to be sleep paralysis and the experience of sleep paralysis. It is definitely, like a direct line from the old hag belief and the mare belief down to the experiences of people who, see shadow people. You got paralysis, you got fear, you got partial perception, you've got a sense of a hostile presence, which is really, really common for people who have any kind of sleep paralysis. In European folklore, the old hag was described as dark, often a female figure that appears at night, sits on the sleeper's chest. We already talked about that.
Does they choke the people?
Kind of, yeah. So it's more associated with unable to move. Like the old hag is preventing any kind of movement.
Having never experienced sleep paralysis, but I know Jake has.
I have.
Explain.
It's terrifying.
How did the old hag sit on you?
I didn't have the old hag.
Oh.
We'll probably be able to talk more about it as we get more into the shadow people because I've this topic hits close to home.
So that's kind of the historical aspects of them. Like I only did a couple of them. The reality is when you start going down the cultural kind of zeitgeist, there's another one of my big words.
Zeitgeist.
Of shadow
Danny
people.
loves zeitgeist.
I love zeitgeist. I love that word. Once you start kind of going into that, you realize that there's a lot of interpretations for shadow people. Mm-hmm. And shadow people can be associated with dreaming, with sleep paralysis, with wakefulness, with all sorts of different things. You don't just have kind of one kind of shadow person. It's kind of associated all over the place. But there's one modern day one that is really, really common. So common, in fact, that there is a whole piece in the Psychology Journal about this one entity and why it exists and how often it pops up.
To the man in the hat.
It is the Hat Man.
Okay.
Isn't he also known, and when I hear the Hat Man, I think of the Boogeyman.
Yeah, you are not wrong. Yeah. The Hat Man is one of the most consistent and recognizable figures within modern shadow person reports, distinguished by his tall human silhouette and wide-brimmed hat, often described as fedora or trench coat era style. He is most commonly encountered during sleep paralysis episodes or extreme fatigue, and he is always standing silently in doorways or corners or at the foot of the bed. Unlike many of these threatening figures, the Hat Man rarely moves or attacks. Instead, most everybody describes it as just being overwhelmingly sense of being watched, which creates fear through the presence rather than the action. A lot of people also purport that he has red eyes.
Oof.
And when I mean a lot of people report, I mean it is a huge amount of people that are seeing this Hat Man during sleep paralysis or other things.
Yee!
So much so that it's considered to be a universal norm. Now, why that is weird. There's a couple different things that kind of set the Hat Man apart from the natural shadow person. And that is, number one, it lingers. The Hat Man has been known to linger past what we would consider to be like the paralysis. Okay. The Hat Man has been seen when people don't have any of the common symptoms of paralysis. But we'll explain a little bit as to why that could be the case either. A lot of people tend to say that it doesn't change culturally, which is weird.
Yeah.
In other words, and I was looking this up, there are stories out of like Indonesia and China and Russia and European countries and African countries that are seeing the shadow person with a hat. And they're kind of describing it the same way.
Hey, Danny, do this with your eye. You have a hair sticking out of your eye, other side.
Gross.
Hat Man did it.
Ladies and
A
gentlemen.
little bit higher.
ADD.
Right there.
Did I get it?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Josh couldn't.
But here's do you want me to tell a story?
Sure.
When we were growing up, I was afraid of the Hat Man.
Really?
Now let me tell you why. I didn't ever have sleep paralysis or the Hat Man that came visit at dark. But if you guys remember, there was a Hat Man who walked on the street.
Oh, the trench coat man.
The trench coat man.
Anybody from West Jordan will remember this man who would walk around in the trench coat a lot of times at night. He has a terribly tragic story.
Yes. And
But
I found that out really later.
It was something that was kind of like a shared childhood fear. It kind of reminds me of the old man in Home Alone.
Yeah.
Where there's just kind of a natural legend that builds up about him. But yeah.
But that I remember being told, like, you don't approach him, you don't talk to him, like, and you don't, if you see him, you kind of go the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so dredge coats and, hats or fedoras or whatever always scared me because of that growing up.
I just always thought you looked cool.
Really?
Trench coat and his cowboy hat.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Making a bunch of noise here. Okay, so going back to this Hat Man, a lot of folklorists, one of the things that kind of keeps popping up is while most shadow people are kind of vague or amorphous, like it's more of like a silhouette of a person, the hat gives him kind of a clear outline, which is very distinctive. And that's something that a lot of people, like even psychologists, will say, well, that's more than likely why people are like reporting it as kind of a shared cultural thing. Psychologists and folklorists note that this consistency across cultures hints at kind of a shared cognitive template activated during states of paralysis. Like maybe there is something inside of our mind that is activating, and that's just kind of a natural silhouette. Folklorically, the Hat Man occupies the same role as early Watcher figures. And we were going to do a Watcher episode at one time because the Watchers is kind of another thing.
Really creepy.
It is a really common trope of like these entities that just kind of watch it. Anyways, he lacks established mythological background. So he's not like the Jinn or he's not like that old hag.
Yeah,
or
he doesn't have a story.
He doesn't really have a story. He's not tied to death or witchcraft or even demons. He just kind of reflects what's considered to be a modern, almost secular interpretation of liminal fear. A lot of people think it's shaped by media memory. People growing up with this idea of men standing in shadows with hats on, and kind of the for the X-Files.
Want to buy a watch?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah, exactly, kind of. Or like the people who would watch X-Files, you would know like Deep Throat in X-Files or different things like that, He is less creature and more of like a reoccurring image. But what's creepy about it is then you talk about this, but then there are some stories out there of interactions with this creature where it's not just like this shadow entity that is not anything, but it's something that you can interact with. Anyways, we'll get into that a little bit later. The fact that the Hat Man encounters occur in regions where people are not culturally primed with the imagery is one of the strongest arguments against simple suggestion or internet contagion, and it can be explained through a combination of neuroscience, archetypal cognition, perceptual constraint, rather than just standard storytelling.
So when was this like first? Do we have a history timeline?
Why, yes, we do.
Okay.
Sort of. So, have you guys ever heard of Coast to Coast?
Isn't that a radio?
It was a radio. Coast to Coast was a radio show that kind of was the late night spooky radio show, where the host would bring on all sorts of people like that. You know, I lived in Area 51. I married the Wolfman. Things like that.
Gotcha.
Incredibly popular with people that were like full-time drivers, so like semi-truck drivers, delivery drivers, and everything. And it kept going for a really long time. In the early 2000s, they had what was originally kind of a spoof guy come on and talk about the shadow person. And then immediately afterward, the guy started getting stories of people saying, hey, I don't know if you were just kind of making fun of it or if this was serious, but I have a story. And so he actually compiled like a whole mini series where people would call in and talk about this shadow person that they saw all the time. And people were talking about it going back for long time. I mean, I listened to one that was a guy that saw a shadow person during his stint in World War II. So
oh my gosh,
it was kind of like this. It was a stumbled on thing, and people have always. If you look up the Wikipedia page right now, that's what they say. Oh, this is the start of the shadow person. Not, I would kind of disagree with that. I would say that this kind of thing has probably been happening a lot more and was a lot more common. It was just kind of the first time that someone named it.
Gotcha.
So
interesting.
Jake, didn't you? You never saw a hat person, did you? Or did you? This is a good time for Jake to talk about his
sleep paralysis.
I don't know if I ever. Well, actually, I say because they usually came in groups.
Oh,
And I'm trying to think if I ever had a hat. I almost feel like the one I had, he had a top hat.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't a wide brimmed hat.
Well, the top hat is really common too.
Yeah. So, but I mean, my experience is that I would wake up and you'd have the shadow people just kind of nearby. I never had, I don't remember, except for one occasion, them having glowing eyes, and it wasn't red eyes, it was white eyes.
Interesting.
So, and but usually again, it was groups. It was usually one or not one or two. It was two or three.
Gotcha.
So, but usually it was occasionally it would be like around the bed, but then sometimes they'd just be down the hallway and hanging out.
And when did these sleep paralyses occur?
Oh, for me, they started happening when I was 11.
Is this when you had moved into your own room?
Yeah. I mean, I did have them before, but they became a lot more consistent when I was
It's because
myself.
I was there to beat them up.
When do you feel like it stopped for you?
I was 15.
Yeah.
I think is when it officially stopped.
Because there was a lot of times that I remember waking up and like you were sleeping upstairs.
Yeah.
That you had come upstairs because of.
Yeah.
Because I would wake up and they would just be standing there. And then I would be kind of, and it's one of those that you're stuck in sleep paralysis. So
Yeah,
you can't do
move.
anything, so you're just terrified. And then as soon as I got the opportunity, I'd take my pillow blanket and run upstairs as quick as I could, and I just sleep on the couch.
Danny, did you have anything like that down in that room?
No, I never did. I would have, I mean, everybody had nightmares. I think the very first time we went, anybody moved downstairs, except you never did, Josh.
I never did.
But anytime you moved downstairs, I always had like nightmares of people come down the hall and everything, but never something like that. But I will tell you, in kind of researching this, Jake's experience, especially that timetable, is incredibly common.
Really?
And more than likely, it's associated also with hormonal changes. It's associated with puberty going absolutely wild, hypnagogic states being just weird. So let's actually talk about that for a second, because I think this is a good segue into like other things. Sleep paralysis is a very real thing.
Yes.
And it is a very well documented thing, and it's not something that's paranormal. Like it is caused by a neurological condition. A lot of times what happens is your brain half wakes up.
Yeah.
You're still in a state of sleep, but because your brain is kind of slowly activating, it's starting a threat detection system that activates. And in this state, your mind generates intruder figures because it doesn't know what to do. It's literally trying to wake you up.
Yeah.
So your brain is trying to wake you up, and the best way to do it is to spike your adrenaline out the wazoo because it doesn't know what's going on. Because evolution always favors over-detecting agency and vulnerability, evolution naturally has made us incredibly cautious. It's something that's already built into our system. That's why you can wake up so fast. I don't know how many people have ever been woken up by their child throwing up or a weird noise in the house, and you're just automatically awake. That's an evolutionary trait. And what sleep paralysis is kind of it's a primer for that state. The form of the intruder almost always in modern day society will be humanoid, because believe it or not, our biggest threat is one another.
Yep.
We're not threatened anymore by shadow animals. It is the shadow people that we're concerned about. And so psychologically speaking, the best way for your mind to wake you up is to make a threat for you and make that threat human, which is why the shadow person or shadow images is a person and not something else. The hat is a weird one. And there are explanations as for why the hat is there. One of the things is that it is a way to construct a human better by your mind. In that, like, the silhouette of a human is kind of amorphic, but if you throw a hat on it, it's a human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like you can have, I don't know how many people have ever jumped at a shadow that ends up being like a coat on a hanger. But
you mean every night?
Do you guys know why that is? There's a psychology word for it. It's pareidolia.
Yeah, pareidolia. Yeah, I was actually just going to talk about that. So it is in our mind, we assign threats to other people. Second, the Watcher archetype predates modern media. It has been a long time happening to the human. The modern hat functions as a culturally neutral marker of personhood, and it makes the image reproducible even in cultures unfamiliar with, like, the Western dress, because the brain substitutes any plausible head shape extension with the hat, like I was just talking about. The consistency of the Hat Man reports across unconnected populations points to a convergent imagery, but not a transmission. When different brains are subjected to the same constraints, darkness, paralysis, fear, limited vision, they tend to generate the same minimal symbolic solution. A tall, human outline, sharply defined. The motionless part of it is incredibly common for sleep paralysis, only because even though your brain is trying to wake you up, your brain is actually not trying to activate all of your threat things. So it's not giving you something that is actively attacking you. It's just giving you something that you should be frightened of. So that's kind of, there's a lot of psychology behind it. And there's probably a lot of good reason why this is the case. It really is a important part of our evolutionary kind of tract. But there's one other thing that kind of is associated with this, and that's the idea of a liminal space. You guys know what a liminal space is?
Define it.
You guys ever heard of the back rooms? That's a new common, like,
it's a video game.
Or like a spooky story that's on the internet, or they call it creepypasta.
Yeah.
It's a really common
creepypasta.
That's a religion.
Yeah, creepypasta. No, pastafarian.
Oh, sorry.
But you're close.
Sorry.
The flying spaghetti monster.
Yes.
Liminal space is a space in betweenness. It's a threshold where normal boundaries become unstable and categories blur. Now, that's a really fancy way of saying it's a way that connects us. So hallways are considered liminal spaces. Doorways are considered liminal spaces. The space around your bed is considered a liminal space because it's a connection to a defined area. Does that make sense? So there's also temporal liminal spaces, so dusk and dawn moments between sleeping and waking. There's outdoor ones like hallways and bridges. In folklore, there's a lot of perception of spaces around liminal spaces, and you can kind of see it pop up a lot in cultural practices. For example, what do you guys you've probably heard this, when you pick up a horseshoe that has been filmed from at the foot of a horse, what are you supposed to do with it? You guys know?
I do not.
You throw it.
No.
I'm just kidding. You keep it.
You keep it and you put it on your doorway.
Yep. As a good luck charm.
And that's exactly right. So it's a really common thing. And like even like old religious like tradition. So you think about, where did the Hebrews put the blood of the lamb during Passover? You know, the liminal spaces are always kind of a thing. Humans feel uneasy in liminal spaces. We just really do. These environments disrupt our brain's sense of predictability and control. We can't predict what's down the hallway. So when Jake is saying that he's seeing things down the hallway or seeing things by his bed or seeing things in the dark corner, it's really like these liminal spaces that our brains just aren't very accustomed to.
Claustrophobia.
Yeah, almost. It's kind of like this claustrophobic things. A couple other examples. Airports at night is a really big one for some people.
Oh, see, and I love airports at night because no one's there.
The brain's threat detection system, that's the amygdala, becomes more active when sensory information is incomplete or ambiguous, leading to a heightened sense of alertness and mild anxiety. Psychologically, liminality also strips away social cues and narrative context. What is this place for? Who should be here? Yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. You can walk into a living room and go, oh, this is the living room where people are supposed to be. But if you're walking into an office building and you're in a hallway, there's not really a cultural connection. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, oh, behind this door could be anything from an office to an operating table. We just, in our threat kind of system in our brains just go absolutely crazy. Which you see, I mean, once again, modern day cultural zeitgeist. There's the word again.
He said it again.
I did. Modern day cultural zeitgeist. That's why the back rooms and liminal spaces and hallways. Like, how many short, scary things have you ever come across on YouTube where you like the person turns on and off a light and there's a shadow at the end of the hallway? Yeah. It's a liminal space.
Or you walk down the hallway and it never ends.
Josh and I have been in charge of locking up a building.
Oh, yes.
And
it is the most terrifying thing.
There's been a few times where we've had a few interesting things happen.
Usually we split apart, but then sometimes we look at each other and say,
nah, we're not going to do that.
We're going to go together on this one.
It's crazy. The unease isn't fear of danger. That's actually something that we need to be pointing out. You're not actually scared of danger. What you're scared of is uncertainty.
The unknown.
Yeah, the instinctive discomfort that arises when meaning, orientation, and expectation briefly fall out of alignment. Liminal spaces.
We could almost tie this to our breaks in time.
100%. Yeah, and what's funny is, as scary as this topic was, a lot of like the psychology behind it starts to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you're putting yourself in a situation where fear is already kind of in the back of your mind or anxiety is already in the back of your mind, the chances of that kind of going haywire is 100% going to happen.
I mean, everyone can probably say that at some point in time you were at your friend's house and you had to walk home. And the fear of the unknown, or that liminal space, see, I used it too.
Very good.
Between your house and your friend's house, made you walk and then maybe have a brisk walk and then a jog, and then you're all full out sprint running for your life because someone's chasing you when in reality there's nothing behind you.
Do you remember our neighbors for the longest time? And I don't know if they still do, Danny, but they had, during the Halloween months, they had their lamppost that they would put the Grim Reaper outfit over.
Oh, sure.
That thing was the worst.
Is that where the dogs used to live, yeah?
No, right next door.
Right next door to us.
So to the
west.
I don't want to say names.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Just on their one. Oh, yeah, all the time.
I didn't know that.
And so and my friend, my house that I would be walking home from at like 11:30 at nighttime, there that is. And in the dark, it's just a big shadow. And unfortunately, of course, you're going to see all the human features of it.
Oh, yeah.
So.
See, and this goes on to another thing. Growing up, we lived down the street from a registered sex offender that I didn't know until way later.
We did?
Yeah.
You'll have to tell us off air because I'm not even familiar with it.
And so when I was told that, it was I tried to never walk home by myself.
Really?
Yeah. Well, gave it a whole new
very interesting
thing.
Even to this day, there are some times in my work life where I have to go out at night.
In the pitch black.
And the times where I have to go, what I am seeing out there in the shadows is not real.
Mm-hmm.
Is pretty often. You know, it's more of like, okay, I know that this is my mind playing tricks on me. I know there's nothing out there. And there is nothing out there. There really isn't anything out there. But your brain does some weird stuff. It's just kind of... And
I wonder, I mean, you explained why, but like, I wonder when it started in the sense of like, and I guess I just answered my own question. There must have been a reason why we evolved that way.
Sure.
Of course, there probably was things.
Yeah, there was predators out there in the darkness. Yeah, and there was things that were hunting us, and there were things that would cause us to die. Mm-hmm. And so our body probably just built up kind of a natural fear to it, and it's kind of existed now to a point where we really don't have to. That being said, people not only can overcome this, some people are just not born with it. Yeah. I know people that have zero problem being out there in the darkness by themselves.
Yeah.
I am not one of them.
I'm not either.
We call them weirdos.
You guys ready for some stories?
Let's do it.
Let's do a couple stories. These are a little spooky stories that I found all throughout. I've condensed them. I've crisped up the language a little bit, but most of them are purported to be real. Now I'm going to say that like this. It's purported to be, quote, real, unquote. A lot of these stories seem to be more made up for me, but, it could be.
It's from the internet.
Maybe
you have
in
to
their
believe
brain.
It.
Back in my first year of college, my friends and I used to go on what we jokingly called haunted hikes. Honestly, it started as an excuse. Late night trails, eerie vibes, and the hope that the girls we brought along would grab onto our arms when things got creepy. Most of the time it worked. We would hear a noise, freak each other out, and feel followed, but it was always just nerves. Until one night in December. It was finals week, bitterly cold, and there was a full moon, bright enough that nothing could hide. We were hiking through a waterfall we had visited before when one of my friends heard something moving in a grove of trees beside the trail. He stopped, and then he saw it. A pitch-black shape stepped out of the tree into the moonlight. Just a head and shoulders at first. As it moved forward, another shadow figure came out of it and continued up the trail through the brush. That is when he ran back to us, grabbed the girls, and started screaming for everyone to run. I stayed behind at the back of the group to make sure no one fell. As we crossed a narrow bridge over a creek bed, I felt like we were being watched. I have the strange sense where, when something is observing me, I can almost see myself through their eyes. Halfway across the bridge, I stopped. Standing in the creek below us was a human-shaped figure. Fully illuminated by the moon, it was completely black. No face, no features, just the outline of a person, slightly warped at the edges. It was not a shadow, it was standing in there between the rocks. Ironically, I did not feel terror, just the certainty that we were not supposed to be there. We made it back to the car and did not slow down until we were far away. On the drive back, I asked my friend what he meant by there's more than one. He described the exact same thing that I had seen in the rocks, the upper torso figure, and then another emerging from it, and it moved down the trail. I hadn't told him what I had seen yet. This was the first and only time anything ever showed itself on those hikes. We walked the girls back to their dorms, then got food and talked until morning, trying to make sense of it. Now, a couple tropes that I want to point out on the story. Dark.
Yep.
Bridges are liminal spaces. All these things are liminal spaces. Did they actually see what they saw? Probably not. But the fact that they saw something and then corroborated it afterward always kind of freaks me out a little bit. It was sometime past midnight when it happened. I had been asleep in my bed. I'm someone who regularly has vivid dreams and can usually tell when I'm dreaming. This was not one of those times. I woke up in the middle of the night, aware but completely unable to move. My body was paralyzed except for my breathing, and I could only open my eyes slightly. I was lying on my back, and faint light coming from my bedroom window outlined the room. That's when I saw it. A dark figure moved into my line of vision and stopped directly in front of me. Silhouetted against the dim light, at first I thought it was my brother. The shape looked like it was wearing a black beanie. Someone or something that he had been wearing a lot at that time. He occasionally came into my room for no reason, but not at this hour. I tried to speak, but all that came out of were uneven breaths. I strained to open my eyes more. The figure had no details, just a thin, shadowy shape. That was when the realization crept in, cold and unmistakable. It wasn't my brother. Panic set in. I couldn't run or fight, and I was terrified to close my eyes because every time I did, it felt closer. I watched as it leaned toward me, reaching out, placing something heavy on my chest like it was about to throw itself on me. My breathing became frantic as I tried to break free. Twitching my fingers and toes was everything I had. Suddenly, my eyes opened just a little bit more. I felt the strange breath on my face, and I broke free. Surrounded myself with pillows. It was gone, and covered my face for the rest of the night, afraid it would happen again. Sound familiar, Jake?
It certainly does.
Yeah, no.
Sleep paralysis. I mean, the reality is that's almost a perfect example of what a sleep paralysis is. Some of these other ones are not. My brother and I were 13 when this happened. We were riding our scooters after dark at our old elementary school in Meridian, Idaho. Just messing around the empty grounds like kids do. The place was dead quiet. No cars, no people, just us in a wide open field. That's when we saw the light. It was red, hovering near a fence at the edge of the field, moving in a tight, erratic circle, like it didn't follow any rules of physics. We stepped and watched it, frozen. The light slowly shrank in on itself, collapsing into a single point and then vanished. Immediately afterward, the air where it had been split open. A black translucent shape unfolded out of nothing, like a smoke tearing its way through space. It looked like a vertical doorway open in midair, roughly 7 feet tall and maybe 3 feet wide. Within a second, the portal snapped fully open and something came out. A tall, pitch-black figure crawled or stepped through before the opening slammed shut behind it. No eyes, no features, just a thin, towering shadow, about 7 or 8 feet tall, made of mist and darkness. Then, it charged us. It took off at a dead sprint with a stride that didn't look human. We spun around and ran without thinking, then glanced back. My stomach dropped. The thing was still chasing us, now on all fours, moving like a spider. We have never run that fast in our lives. We didn't stop until we made it our way home, nearly 2 miles away, screaming and completely out of breath. We told our parents everything the moment we burst through the door. To our surprise, they believed us. There has been a lot of strange things happening around us at that time. Even now, years later, we still have no idea what came out of that portal.
Yep, I'm never leaving the house. Jake, I'm taking up your theory.
When in doubt.
I gotta say, I got this story from a thread that to me sounded like this person was trying to sell a movie. So, don't necessarily know if I can necessarily believe that one. Doesn't follow a lot of common tropes, but
the first thing is he used, it did not follow the laws of physics.
Oh, well, and this is my favorite one. I left this out because I thought it was so over the top, but it has a final line. But whatever it was, it wanted us.
Dun, dun.
It was.
Now, this next one is a little weird because this is one that came from a...
The others aren't weird.
Well, the other ones kind of follow like the spooky story kind of thing. This one came from a comment that was left on a psychology forum that was talking about the man or the shadow hat man. Mm-hmm. And it starts like this. Wait, this is actually a thing? When I worked overnight shifts at a group home, strange stuff happened a lot. Upstairs, we'd hear voices.
You would know that,
home. Yeah, I'm into that. Doors would open on their own. We'd wedge onto the floor. It was unsettling, but manageable. Downstairs was different. The house had 2 suites, one upstairs and one downstairs, each with a high-risk youth. At night, you worked alone. After a night worker suddenly died on the shift after a heart attack or an aneurysm, we were required to call and check in with the other night staff every 2 hours during our 10-hour shift. I avoided the downstairs as much as I could. The vibe was off. It felt old, cold, and unfriendly. More than once, I passed the long hallway leading to the storage room. I swear I saw a tall man wearing a hat. Every time I looked back, he was gone. One night, a girl living downstairs relapsed and had a bad trip. She was seeing shadow people, so I stayed up with her until the ambulance arrived. She kept saying that the man in the hat was angry, watching her, and that she couldn't stay away. It terrified me. I don't remember if I ever mentioned the man I'd seen. I like to think I didn't. I wouldn't have wanted to fuel her fear, but the fact that she described the same thing chilled me to the bone. And after that, I only made quick trips downstairs when I had to. I felt guilty, but the floor definitely didn't get swept or mopped as it should have. Not in the dead of night. Not in that hallway.
Eek. Yeah, you could talk to that one a little bit more.
Yeah, hey, having worked in a group home
During the night?
in my early 20s at night, there are plenty of things to spook you out. However, my rational side, my skeptical side, goes back to what I just learned and talked about with the liminal spaces and the psychology of the thing. And I can't help but wonder if what people are experiencing is just your own brain going a little haywire. If you're already naturally scared of it downstairs, when you turn off the lights and you walk by something, you're going to see something. Because your anxiety is just heightened. You might even be putting yourself in a weird hypnagogic state. You might self-hypnosis yourself into seeing something. But the stories are spooky.
They are.
They're pretty spooky. You feel good about that? Everybody feel good about gonna sleep with the lights on tonight?
Speak with it.
Yep.
Hey, it's just like one of those things where you wake up and you see the vacuum at the end of the bed and you go, oh, never mind.
Oh, you mean my daily?
You wake up and your 3-year-old is standing as a shadow in the doorway. I had a nightmare. Whoa!
Or, you're tending your brother's kids during a very hard night, and you're sitting there with your wife on the couch because we didn't think it would be long, and all of a sudden you hear, and I nearly pooped my pants. And it was just her talking to herself in her sleep.
It was my daughter talking because that's what she does all the time.
My daughter talks to herself in the sleep too, but she is like active, like she like Shakespeare, hands over her head.
No, my daughter, my son talks in the sleep too, so it's kind of fun when you go sleep in a hotel room and you're all in the same room and you wake up and you go, are they having a conversation? Shadow people.
Shadow people.
I must share one more story.
Do.
Once upon a time, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make it as if it was mine, but shadows freak me out because of a single, very cheesy BBC show called Doctor Who. And there's this episode called The Library where the shadows, when you have 2 shadows, that's when you know you're dead. And they eat your flesh.
Ooh.
And consume you and just repeat the last words.
I was going to say, isn't that the one where the guy is
They're in the astro suit?
Astronaut
suit, yeah. And he
was
says,
that David Tennant or was that?
Yep, that's David Tennant. But he says, I can't see anything. I can't see anything. And then it turns and then his skull falls forward. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
That's what I think.
No angels.
Oh, yeah.
Angels in Doctor Who, man.
The Weeping Angels.
The Weeping Angels.
That was the first Doctor Who I watched because my wife is a big Doctor Who buff.
She's a Whovian.
She is a Whovian. She has the Doctor Who encyclopedia. She knows
Exterminate!
She tried to explain the history to me once, and I already got lost. So, but we watched the Weeping Angels. One of the first things that we watched.
Yeah, that one was scary too.
That's a spooky one.
But shadows are scary because shadows follow us.
Have you ever seen the YouTube videos of like little kids realizing they have a shadow?
Yeah.
And then like freaking out. It's one of my favorite things.
They're running away from the
Yeah,
shadow
like,
that's following.
I'm going to end with this, and then I will have your guys' endings. Approach life as someone who has a general skeptical attitude towards things.
Mm-hmm.
In that, don't take anything at face value. Question. You okay, Josh?
Yeah, it's not Jake.
You guys have it.
Danny, you got so serious.
I do.
You did get so serious.
I apologize.
But then
This is what happens when I-
just said think.
I did.
Okay,
Let's try
I'm
to
better
sit
now.
Wait, we're good.
Okay, here we go.
up
We're going
guy.
to start again.
I'm gonna move the mic away from my face.
Be skeptical and question things, and always doubt your fears. If you're scared of something, the best thing is to try to understand the fear and then move forward with that. And I think that is a lot more helpful in the long run, especially for fears like the darkness or with shadow people or whatever. I mean, a lot of the things that they talk about with people with sleep paralysis, one of the big things that they tell a person with sleep paralysis to do is have a running mantra of this is not real and this is not happening. And a lot of times it actually will pull them out of things. I had a really good friend that had sleep paralysis, kind of a similar situation where he was seeing a person in the corner every single night and kind of had convinced himself like, oh, this is something nefarious, and went to religious leaders who were saying, no, what you're saying, this is psychological. When you understand your brain and the way that your brain works, it's going to help you in the long run. So, but at the same time, let yourself get spooked out every once in a while. I think it's okay.
I think it is too. And
It
then
can be
you
kind of
realize the
fun.
thing you're spooked out is like a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, it can be fun in safety. I mean, don't go, searching for stuff
Bad
out there. Instead, just bad. Yeah, kind of.
I'm gonna go walk Compton by myself.
Yeah, probably not a great idea.
Danny was never by himself.
We were always by two. But there were sometimes we were running through Compton.
One by one. Did anyone just see that white guy run past? What the heck is he doing here?
Problem is most of the time I was with a deaf person who was trying to sign, and so that was doubly dangerous because here's my guy running, throwing gang signs up in the air. And so, okay, final words from you two. Joshua.
Shadows can be a work of art.
I think you just keep starting with shadows. And you're missing out. Josh literally puts his fingers together like it's
Really
it's like a thing of
He's like a
Shadows.
literature professor, like that stands up in front of the class and is like,
Holds up a freaking skull and says shadows.
shadows.
I'm Shakespearean, okay? Shadows.
You can't do it without doing it. That's hilarious.
Shadows.
he's doing it underneath his bum.
Just cupping my butt. Anyway, shadows are a very interesting phenomenon. So stand in the light, people.
Oh, that's religious.
Well, I mean like a literal light.
Josh
But yeah,
is like, y'all need Jesus.
hey, I've been told I can't be religious on here. If you want to see that podcast, tune in for future episodes on a different
Leave a
podcast
comment.
where some older brother of mine won't get mad that I'm religious.
I don't get mad that you're religious. Josh,
what we need to do is we need to start a religious
That's
podcast
true.
that Josh can just do on the
Josh-
side.
Josh is
And then
pretty
you'd
much,
realize that I'm not religious at all.
in another world, Josh would be a youth pastor.
Josh,
I would.
Josh is like, I found the Holy Ghost in the bathroom.
And guess what? It was spiritual. Hallelujah.
Final words from Jake. Because
but anyway-
Josh off.
Wait,
anyway, you all need Jesus.
What were you saying, Josh?
You all need Jesus.
You all need Jesus.
No, stand in the light. If you're scared of shadows, get a light, a flashlight. Ooh, wait a second. Does your shadow cast a shadow?
No. Shadow is just the lack of light.
So just carry a flashlight, and if you're scared by your shadow, flash a light.
If you ever wanted to see a really cool X-Files with Tony Shalhoub,
No idea who that is.
That is a funny
Monk.
name.
the guy from Monk
Oh.
and from Galaxy
like-
Quest.
Oh, that's
He-
an even better reference.
He is a person who, because of a experiment gone wrong, his shadow actually dematerializes people. And so he has to live in places that don't, like he can't cast a shadow, so he goes and stays in like a train station that has like so many lights that there's no shadows that are dinging. Anyways, it's a really good one.
I seem to remember an X-Files. I think the only one I ever watched with you that traumatized me forever.
Sorry.
was the one where the little creature would crawl out of the man at the circus.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
And then at the very end, he got eaten by the reptilian guy.
Yes, he did.
Wow, spoilers.
Yeah, well,
It's a fantastic
it's
one.
only 25 years late if it's spoiling for you.
Probably closer to 30, actually.
30 years late if you're going to really look at that.
Oh, that's my favorite one. Those are the ones with the former circus freaks. I love that one.
Okay, well, now I'm traumatized.
Sorry.
So, it's my turn.
Yes.
Jake has been quiet this entire podcast, and he was just waiting for his
Shadows.
shadows. Shadows. You got to say it like Sean. Shadow.
Was that Sean Connery?
Yeah.
Conrad.
Shadows.
That sounded more like the guy from the Rolling Stones.
Well, Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Shadows, everyone.
Shadows.
We're going to have some fun with our shadows tonight.
That's really good, Jake.
Thank you very much. I try my best.
If people would like to pay for the Mick Jagger impersonation, email us at
Emails at twaddlingalong.com.
Oh, as you guys know, I'm the skeptic, but my experience with the so-called shadow folk made me a skeptic because
Shadows.
I literally just kind of had to learn to deny it. So I'm in a constant state of denial.
Can you see Jake wakes up in a sleep paralysis? The shadows are all over, and Jake's like, denied, and then just wakes up.
It just
Wrong.
No one saw what Danny just did, but that was the funniest thing. No shadows.
You really you look at him and you go, no,
No, that's not right. And then they go away. And you're like, oh,
they
see, I was
do.
right.
They just kind of.
I wonder if those shadows are sad that you don't recognize them.
Oh, they should be.
They'll just put their head down. They're like,
They're like, oh,
dang it.
But I mean, that's been my whole life. I've had to deny so many things. So
Jake's in a constant state of denial.
I'm always in
Nope.
denial.
Nope.
So I mean,
Wrong.
it's one of those. If you experience it, one, recognize you can make it go away.
Yep.
You can be in denial. It's fine.
You're in control.
You really are. You can do things to help you get over it. And I mean, I learned that. So, but that also makes it so I have to be ever vigilant that I'm also doing that in those places with, what are they called, Danny? The
Liminal spaces.
Liminal
Liminal
spaces.
spaces in the zeitgeist of fanatics.
Yeah.
In the zeitgeist of fanatics. The cultural place of fanatics.
So when I'm walking up the stairwell from my basement apartment and turning off all the lights after playing who knows what with Danny and Josh, I have to be in a constant state of
I think
denial.
there's a video game called Liminal Spaces. We should play it.
You can. We'll commentary.
I say, you guys already got me to play freaking
Phasmophobia.
Which was also really fun.
And let's talk about, Jake has an overactive imagination, which is not good after playing that game, especially when I'm down in the basement.
I do feel bad. We've made your wife not play video games with us anymore.
Oh, I know.
We've made you.
Hey,
Hey, wait, we do have to end.
we do have to end?
We
Okay.
do. We are so over time right now.
I say we'll have to talk about that some other time.
Yes.
Because Julie had an experience on the game that was very terrifying.
It was. And then she left.
She just disappeared, and it was like,
Where did she go?
And instead of her husband going, oh, I should go check on her, I went, I should finish this game first, and then I'll go up and check on her. Yeah.
Marriage.
Jacob learned an important lesson that
But
day.
in reality,
he was seeing shadow people on the couch.
shadow.
I can be in denial, but I shouldn't be in denial of other people.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us. Next week is the human condition. And it is Jake's turn. Jake, do you have any inklings on what we're going to do yet?
We're going to talk about the excuses husbands bring up for most of the things that we are asked to do.
I feel like this is just a follow-up of me saying that I don't bring in groceries because I have to.
Which, by the way, we do have on our YouTube channel. we made a story about it, and it's been very popular.
Josh couldn't
And
make it. He
I
had
would
to say
just
food.
like to point out, my wife calls me out every time now, and I have not gone potty since.
Josh is just super uncomfortable over on the sofa. He's like, I haven't got potty yet.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
I'm not Egyptian, but I'm in denial.
Shadows.